As a Star Wars fan, I don't know what will quicken your pulse if Chapter 18 of The Mandalorian didn't accomplish it. In this video, I will cover the highlights, including a vintage droid, a ruined city, haunting visuals, suspense, new enemies, jump scares, character development. I repeat, character development, a redemption, and a mythical beast. The episode wasn't perfect, but it rates among the series' best for me. Welcome to Galactic Initiative. I'm your host, Jeff. When Star Wars reaches its potential, I look forward to spreading the glad tidings. The Mines of Mandalore is a worthy installment and a significant improvement over last week's season premiere. 7 minutes longer, no heavy-handed exposition, and storytelling in two genres that Star Wars rarely explores, suspense and horror. Let's begin. I dislike Peli for her grating personality. Her appearances break my suspension of disbelief. And criminal activity for the sake of criminal activity isn't funny. Fortunately, she didn't have much screen time. I'm thankful The Mandalorian temporarily dropped his IG-11 quest and chose R5-D4 as his droid companion. And I'm pleased the entire visit to Tatooine took less than 5 minutes. Mandalore was an eerie combination of storms, caves, rubble, and drainage. It should not be underestimated as a key ingredient for success. I thought of Moria in Peter Jackson's adaptation of Tolkien, how it established the mood, how it dictated the suspense and action. The setting functioned as an adversary, an obstacle to overcome, and visually it captured my imagination. The creature that trapped Din Djarin was outstanding for its design, a creepy, blood-sucking menace from a sci-fi horror film. A cyclopean crab with a Grievous-like bipedal mechanical frame and a spider droid to pilot. I liked its mannerisms, vocalizations, lab equipment, and electrostaff. It is one of the most interesting Star Wars aliens yet. Its single eye behind a circular glass window and its combination of metal appendages and tubes reminded me of the classic video game BioShock. The Alamites didn't measure up to the creature, but they were serviceable enemies. The lizard bats in the caverns added an element of danger. One of them caused a jump scare, which I enjoyed. The overall impression was desolation and competition for food. The darker, declining passages promised escalating perils. Like traveling into an actual mine, the feeling of isolation and claustrophobia grew with depth. Grogu's surveillance and flight showed his increasing independence. He can vocalize and steer his pod. However, don't confuse these changes for character growth. I didn't like his flips and jumps. By puppeteering standards, these moves looked terrible. Some are openly questioning his escape and return to Kalevala. As I said a moment ago, Grogu can steer his pod now. R5 had the coordinates and capacity to fly the N1. In our galaxy, the period between capture and rescue would be problematic. In the Star Wars galaxy, leaving Mandalore for Kalevala and returning in time to save Din isn't a problem for me. Many precedents exist. Remember, the galaxy's dimensions fit the story, not our reality of outer space. Hold on to your Life Day robes. The Mythosaur is back. The Mythosaur skull has been a Mandalorian symbol since the warriors of old joined the lore. In Empire and Jedi, Boba Fett's left shoulder clearly displayed it. Queel referenced the beast when encouraging Din Djarin to tame a blurg in Season 1. I'm anxious to see where the legendary animal's part will go. If Dave Filoni has his way, Din will ride it when he liberates Mandalore. Bo-Katan stole the episode. Her battles against the Alamites and Cyclopean Crab elevated her to boss level. I couldn't help but notice the contrast between Din's clumsy, brute tactics and her fluid, speedy moves. Must Din be lowered for her to be raised? Will Bo replace Cara as a main character? Regardless, she gained complexity and showed emotions. A major improvement over last week's Woe Is Me performance. I hope she accompanies Din from here on out. Speaking of Din, he fulfilled his main quest, bathing in Mandalore's living waters. He has officially redeemed himself. I didn't anticipate this step until later. He can return to his cult, crew, and accelerate the process of reuniting his people. With 6 episodes remaining, Season 3 has taken a bigger turn than expected. The bathing quest wasn't edge-of-your-seat material. So, by the end, I hope other more exciting storylines replace it. In that sense, Din's early achievement might be a redemption for the audience too. My biggest criticism is the show's reliance on the volume. I mentioned my fondness for Mandalore's runes. Great visuals. But the volume's incapability to handle more than a handful of characters at one time leaves an unnatural sensation of emptiness and flatness. The mind detects missing details on an unconscious level. I wish more practical effects were used. Uneven terrain, moisture, dust, etc. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for all things Star Wars.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, all rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark, and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.